Good morning, all my garden peeps. Sorry I started without you today. If you don't know, I come out in the garden about 6:30 every morning. That's when it's nice and cool here because we were getting really hot and now we're actually cooling down, which is unbelievably wonderful. And I'm actually afraid I waited a little bit too long with this one after I looked at the roots on the first one. But I was waiting for temperature and I was waiting for those stupid white moths that leave the cabbage loopers on my broccoli. And out here, I don't know about where you're from, but they attack my broccoli like crazy. And also, I haven't grown cauliflower before, and I have a row of cauliflower down the center. So in this raised bed, we're going to plant 2 different kinds of broccoli, and then in the center, a few cauliflower just to see what we get. Over the years, it's been really hard for me to successfully grow broccoli because I've always been in the mindset of planting it at the beginning of the season, and the cabbage loopers tear it up. Pests go crazy out here for brassicas. So this year I'm changing it up. I decided to start these a couple months ago indoor under lights, and then I've just been nursing them and babying them along and giving them nutrients until I see the temperature and the pest pressure go down. After careful consideration, I'm not going to be able to do it the way I wanted to. I wanted to do it 3 down one side, 3 down the other side, and 2 in the middle. When I laid them out there, that was just too close. And then just double checking this raised bed, it's 3 foot by 4 foot, not 4 foot by 4 foot. So I don't have as much room as I thought. That's all right. I'm going to try to grow 6 really large brassicas in here. I've already gone through and plotted the holes out and then just set the brassicas right on top. But all I did really, they recommend a 12-inch spacing and then 2-foot rows. We're going to be doing some more high capacity growing in the raised beds, and they're going to get plenty of nutrients here. So I used my shovel and just went 12-inch, 12-inch. And then we're only going to have just over a foot between them in the rows. Now brassicas, you don't need to bury deep. I know we do that when we talk about tomatoes and peppers and all that other stuff. And there's no real pinching off of the leaves. They're super easy. Dig you a hole about the depth of whatever container that you have them in. And I will snip this little one here and maybe this one, and then you'll just bring the dirt right up to this point, and so it's nice and solid. That's all you're looking for. Push it down in there nice and firm, and then as I push the dirt back in, I push a little at a time so I can get my fingers down there and really mash the soil or down next to where the roots are. So I got out here working this morning and didn't really think that this would be good material for a video. So I didn't start videoing, and that's why I started without you this morning. But then once I got going, I thought, there's a bunch of other people out there that really might want to see this because they might be in an area where when they plant their brassicas in the spring, they get decimated by bugs as well. If this works, and I don't know if it will, but if this works by planting it now and letting it grow into the cold season, maybe it'll benefit you too. But I'm really hopeful that it'll work to where I can start getting some brassicas because I do really like them. The wife really likes them. And I just haven't had luck year after year after year. I get a little bit of broccoli, but nothing to amount to anything. Now broccoli is a pretty hardy plant anyway, so I'm not usually too careful with it. I don't baby broccoli like I do some of my other plants. How is it where you're at? Are you able to grow broccoli in the spring? Or are you ahead of me and you've tried growing in the fall before? Leave me a message in the comments. I really like hearing and taking ideas from you guys, and we're starting to get a little bit of a community where we can ask questions. Turns out cauliflower roots grow a lot faster than the broccoli roots. Now 6 might seem like no big deal, but think about it. I'm nowhere near the level of completely sustaining my family on just the garden. Every year it gets bigger, and every year I realize how much bigger it needs to be. But how fun is it to get 6 giant heads of either cauliflower or broccoli or the mixture like what I'm doing, just to have awesome meals with your family. And I've got a bunch more that I'm going to put in grow bags this year and let them grow out here in the nice cool weather as it cools down and get the actual sun. And then with the grow bags, it'll be awesome because once it starts to get really cold and we're getting frost at night, I can easily just pick it up and put it on the shelves in the greenhouse. You see, we've all gardened for a really long time, but have you actually planned out how much food you need? And that's kind of where I'm at, or at least where my transition is trying to plan out to where I get as much food out of the garden as possible. This is my first year actually trying to grow in the cold weather. It's also the first year I have chickens that love lettuce, and it helps me cut down on the feed bill. So I'm trying to grow all kinds of stuff, even if I don't like it. And don't forget, it's something people, and myself included, often forget. Mix up some good nutrient water and just make sure that right after transplant, it's best if you use the same nutrients you've been giving them, assuming and hoping that you have been giving them nutrients. If you've been watching this channel, you better have been giving them nutrients. But the mixture you've been giving them, just put it in a nice water jug and give them a good drink. It helps let those roots release from the root ball a little bit more and just gives them that boost. Now these guys have been hardened off really well, which normally I'm bad at. But I actually did start with like a half hour and then an hour, and I worked it up for 2 weeks until the last few days they've stayed out 24/7. I just didn't have time to plant them. If you're going to do it this way, you want to be prepared for when it gets cold. These are in big raised beds, so they're not able to go into my greenhouse. If you put it in your ground or in your raised beds at home or in maybe big pots and don't have a greenhouse, you're going to want a way to protect them in case the frost comes early, and then to keep them protected so they just produce longer into the year. So how do you do that? One of the easiest, maybe not the cheapest, but one of the easiest ways I've found, and I've just kind of stuck with it, is just go on Amazon and buy you a kit like this that has the poles and all the little adapters, so you can make it super wide, super tall, whatever you need to do. You're either going to need row covering, insect netting, or plastic. So I don't have any row covering on hand. Mine got tore up last year, and I haven't ordered mine for the winter time yet. I still have a month and a half until my first frost date, so don't push it. This is bug netting. That's a good idea to have right now. You can stretch it, put a few of these rings on here and stretch it over, and those stupid white moths and cabbage loopers hopefully will stay away. If it's something you're going to do every year, just buy you a big old roll of visqueen, something of a thick mill that's going to last, or something thin that you just decide to tear off and throw away every year. This roll has lasted me for about 3 years, as big as my garden is, and look how much I still have left. The main thing is, have it in your head that you're going to have to use some type of protection on the garden if you're going to start something right now. Now, in my opinion, I know a lot of people say different, but in my opinion, I still don't think it's too late to even start seeds if you're going to use plastic. And you can set up a system like this with double plastic. Just depends on how committed you want to be to make your own little greenhouse to where every one of your raised beds has its own little microclimate. I just wanted to show you that there's a ton of ways to think about it and stretch that food into the winter time to get more food on your table. I think that'll do it for this one. I'm Steve with the Chili Prepper channel, and always remember, you don't have to be a prepper to be prepared. We'll see you on the next one.